Welcome back. At first glance, the Eisenhower dollar looks like just another old American coin, but hidden within this iconic series are subtle details that most people never notice. Today, we're uncovering the history, the rare varieties, the collector secrets, and the authenticated examples that have made certain Eisenhower dollars stand out in the numismatic world. Let's take a closer look before these remarkable clues disappear into plain sight. First coin. Few modern American coins invite as much curiosity as the United States Bicentennial Eisenhower Dollar, bearing the distinctive dual date of 1776, 1976. At first glance, it appears to be a familiar large dollar coin, yet closer inspection reveals details that separate it from every regular Eisenhower dollar ever produced. The unusual date immediately signals that it was created to commemorate an extraordinary national milestone rather than a single calendar year, making it one of the most recognizable commemorative circulating designs in American history. Millions of Americans encountered these coins during the nation's bicentennial celebration, but only a fraction have survived in the remarkable condition that serious collectors pursue today. Some examples have achieved surprisingly strong results after professional authentication and grading, while others remain common keepsakes with only modest collector appeal. As this story unfolds, you'll discover why certain authenticated specimens have realized impressive auction prices, which characteristics specialists search for first, and how factors such as strike quality, preservation, mint origin, and certified condition ultimately determine whether a bicentennial Eisenhower dollar stands out from the countless others that still exist. The origin of this remarkable dollar traces directly to the approaching 200th anniversary of American independence. During the early 1970s, the United States was emerging from a period marked by economic uncertainty, inflationary pressure, changing political leadership, and the lingering effects of the Vietnam War. Against that backdrop, Congress authorized special coinage celebrating 2 centuries since the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Instead of issuing ordinary coins dated 1975, the United States Mint adopted the now famous double date of 1776, 1976 for the quarter, half dollar, and Eisenhower dollar, ensuring that every piece immediately reflected the historic anniversary. No Eisenhower dollars bearing only the date 1975 were ever struck for circulation, making the bicentennial issue a unique chapter within the entire series. The coin also continued honoring President Dwight D. Eisenhower, whose leadership during World War II and later presidency made him one of the most respected figures of 20th century America. By combining Eisenhower's portrait with a reverse celebrating liberty and exploration, the Mint successfully connected America's revolutionary beginnings with its modern achievements, creating a coin whose symbolism extended far beyond ordinary commerce. The obverse retained Frank Gasparo's dignified portrait of President Eisenhower, presenting him in left-facing profile with carefully sculpted facial detail that reflects the bold style characteristic of large dollar coinage. Around the portrait appear the inscriptions Liberty and In God We Trust, while the unique dual date immediately distinguishes the bicentennial issue from every standard Eisenhower dollar. The reverse, however, underwent a complete transformation. Following a nationwide design competition, artist Dennis R. Williams created an image depicting the Liberty Bell superimposed against the moon, representing both America's revolutionary heritage and the extraordinary accomplishments of the Apollo space program. Encircling the design are the inscriptions United States of America, $1, EPLUBUSUNUM, and the 13 stars recalling the original colonies. Measuring approximately 38.1 millimeters in diameter and weighing about 22.68 grams for the circulating copper-nickel-clad version, the coin possesses an impressive physical presence rarely matched by modern United States coinage. Its reeded edge, metallic composition, and broad surfaces also make it particularly vulnerable to contact marks, meaning that pristine examples are considerably scarcer than their original production totals might suggest. Production of the bicentennial Eisenhower dollar occurred primarily at the Philadelphia and Denver mints for circulation, while the San Francisco Mint manufactured collector versions in both proof and special uncirculated formats. Philadelphia circulation coins carry no mint mark, Denver issues display a small d, and San Francisco collector pieces feature the familiar S. In addition to the standard copper-nickel clad composition intended for circulation, the Mint also produced special collector editions struck in 40% silver clad, packaged specifically for numismatists rather than everyday spending. These silver issues differ not only in metallic content but also in appearance, often displaying a brighter luster and distinctive tunning patterns after decades of careful storage. Combined production exceeded tens of millions of pieces, yet sheer mintage alone does not determine rarity within the collecting community. Strike quality varied from die to die, and many circulation examples quickly accumulated heavy abrasions because of their unusually large size and relatively limited use in commerce. As a result, locating sharply struck coins with clean surfaces, vibrant original mint frost, and minimal bag marks has become increasingly challenging despite the coin's overall availability. For experienced collectors, the true fascination begins with condition rarity rather than date alone. Professional grading services evaluate these dollars using the internationally recognized Sheldon scale, where mint state grades from MS-60 through MS-70 distinguish coins that have never entered circulation. The difference between an MS-64 specimen and an MS-67 example may appear subtle to an inexperienced eye, yet that distinction can dramatically influence desirability and value. Collectors examine the cheek and jawline of Eisenhower's portrait for distracting contact marks, inspect the Liberty Bell for complete definition, and evaluate the moon's textured surface for evidence of a full strike. Original mint luster should rotate smoothly beneath a light source without interruptions caused by cleaning or environmental damage. Natural tunning, when attractive and unquestionably original, may further enhance eye appeal, while harsh polishing often reduces collector interest regardless of technical grade. Exceptional certified examples have traded in the neighborhood of approximately $1,250 to $2,800 when preserved at advanced mint state levels with outstanding eye appeal, although prices always fluctuate according to certification, market demand, and available population reports rather than the date alone. Beyond standard condition, specialists actively search for unusual die varieties and genuine mint errors that transform otherwise ordinary examples into significantly more desirable collectibles. Doubled design elements, dramatic off-center strikes, clipped planchets, broad strikes, wrong planchet errors, and major die breaks all represent possibilities, though each requires expert verification before any premium can be justified. Minor machine doubling or circulation damage is frequently mistaken for valuable varieties, leading many owners to overestimate what they possess. Authentication by respected third-party grading companies remains one of the most important safeguards against costly mistakes because specialists analyze weight, diameter, metallic composition, edge characteristics, die markers, and countless microscopic details that counterfeiters often fail to reproduce accurately. Although counterfeit Bicentennial Eisenhower dollars are less common than fake gold or key-date silver coins, deceptive altered pieces and fabricated error coins do appear in the marketplace. Verified high-grade error specimens have occasionally realized prices exceeding $3,500 at public auction, but those results reflect genuinely scarce, certified examples with exceptional documentation rather than ordinary circulation coins displaying post-mint damage or questionable alterations. Preservation plays an equally important role in determining long-term collector value, because the expansive surfaces of the Eisenhower dollar readily reveal fingerprints, hairlines, and abrasions. Improper handling can permanently diminish a coin's desirability within seconds. Experienced numismatists recommend holding the coin only by its edges, avoiding direct contact with the obverse and reverse fields where skin oils may eventually leave permanent stains. Coins intended for long-term storage are best housed in inert archival holders. Capsules or professionally graded slabs that minimize environmental exposure. High humidity, rapid temperature changes, and PVC-containing plastic flips can all contribute to unattractive surface deterioration over time. Cleaning should never be attempted, even when a coin appears dull or discolored, because abrasive polishing permanently alters the original surface and is immediately recognized by knowledgeable graders. Collectors also compare examples exhibiting brilliant original surfaces with naturally toned pieces displaying gold, blue, or amber coloration, developed over decades of stable storage. Recognizing that originality consistently commands stronger confidence than artificial enhancement. Over the decades, the Bicentennial Eisenhower Dollar has evolved from a patriotic commemorative into an established cornerstone of modern American numismatics. Many surviving pieces continue to carry sentimental value because families preserved them as reminders of the nation's 200th birthday, yet only a comparatively small percentage meet the rigorous standards demanded by advanced collectors seeking elite-certified examples. Auction records demonstrate that ordinary circulated coins generally remain affordable, while authenticated mint state, premium proof, rare silver issues, and extraordinary era varieties can achieve substantially stronger prices when competition among collectors intensifies. Some exceptional certified pieces have even exceeded $4,000 in specialized sales, though such outcomes are reserved for remarkably preserved, genuinely scarce examples supported by professional grading and strong collector demand rather than the bicentennial date itself. Ultimately, every United States Bicentennial Eisenhower Dollar tells two interconnected stories, one celebrating 2 centuries of American history and another reflecting the meticulous standards of modern coin collecting, where authenticity, preservation, rarity, strike quality, certification, and ever-changing market demand together determine whether a historic keepsake remains simply a cherished souvenir or becomes an outstanding numismatic treasure. Next coin. The 1971 Eisenhower Dollar occupies a remarkable place in American numismatic history because it represents far more than the debut of a new dollar coin. At first glance, it appears to be a large copper-nickel piece honoring a former president, yet experienced collectors know that subtle differences in strike quality, mint origin, preservation, and authenticity can dramatically separate an ordinary example from one that commands extraordinary attention. Although millions were produced, surprisingly few have survived in truly exceptional condition, and those elite pieces continue to attract intense interest whenever they appear on the market. As this documentary unfolds, you'll discover why this inaugural issue has become one of the most closely studied coins of the modern era, what characteristics specialists examine before assigning collector value, and what professionally authenticated examples have achieved in major auctions after decades of careful preservation. The story begins shortly after the death of President Dwight D. Eisenhower in March 1969, a moment that prompted widespread public support for honoring both the former president and the achievements of the Apollo 11 moon landing. Congress authorized a new dollar coin carrying Eisenhower's portrait, replacing the peace dollar, whose production had ended decades earlier. The timing reflected a nation entering the 1970s amid significant political, economic, and technological change. Inflation was beginning to reshape consumer purchasing power. The United States remained deeply involved in Cold War competition, and America's successful lunar exploration stood as one of the defining accomplishments of the 20th century. The new dollar, therefore, became more than circulating currency. It symbolized military leadership, presidential legacy, and scientific achievement in a single design. Released in 1971, it marked the beginning of the Eisenhower Dollar series and the first regular-issue United States dollar coin struck for circulation since the peace dollar ended in 1935, giving collectors an entirely new large-format coin to study. The artistic design carried deep symbolic meaning. The obverse, created by chief engraver Frank Gasparo, features a bold left-facing portrait of Dwight D. Eisenhower surrounded by liberty, "In God We Trust," and the date 1971. Gasparo intentionally portrayed Eisenhower with a calm yet determined expression, reflecting his reputation as both Supreme Allied Commander during World War II and the 34th President of the United States. The reverse presents an American eagle descending toward the lunar surface while clutching an olive branch, directly inspired by the Apollo 11 mission insignia. Behind the eagle rises the Earth, emphasizing humanity's achievement in reaching the moon while simultaneously expressing America's desire for peace through the olive branch. United States of America, EPLUBUSUNUM, and $1 complete the composition. Measuring approximately 38.1 millimeters in diameter and weighing about 22.68 grams in the circulating copper-nickel-clad format, the coin features a reeded edge and broad open fields that make even the smallest contact marks highly visible. Collector versions struck at San Francisco in 40% silver-clad weigh slightly more because of their different metallic composition. Production took place at 3 United States mint facilities, each contributing distinct versions that continue to interest collectors today. Philadelphia struck circulation coins without a mint mark, while Denver produced circulation issues identified by the small d beneath Eisenhower's neck truncation. The San Francisco Mint manufactured collector editions bearing the S mint mark, including both uncirculated and proof versions in the special 40% silver composition authorized specifically for collectors rather than circulation. Philadelphia produced well over 47 million circulation pieces, while Denver exceeded 68 million examples, making the 1971 issue readily available in worn condition. The silver collector issues were struck in substantially smaller quantities, increasing their long-term desirability. Despite these impressive production numbers, quality control varied considerably. Many circulation coins left the mint with relatively soft strikes, particularly in Eisenhower's hair and the eagle's feathers, while large bags used during transportation caused countless abrasions before the coins ever entered circulation. As a result, locating sharply struck examples with clean surfaces has proven far more difficult than overall mintage figures might initially suggest. Condition is where the 1971 Eisenhower dollar truly separates itself within modern American coin collecting. Professional grading services evaluate each specimen using the Sheldon scale, and while mint state examples are common, coins certified at the highest levels become increasingly elusive. Collectors closely inspect the portrait's cheek, jawline, and neck, because these areas quickly accumulate distracting bag marks that reduce overall eye appeal. The eagle on the reverse should display crisp feather definition, and the moon's surface should reveal complete detail rather than a weak strike. Original mint luster is another critical characteristic, flowing evenly across both sides of the coin without interruption from cleaning or environmental damage. Attractive natural toning may add collector appeal, particularly when vibrant colors develop gradually over decades of careful storage. Depending upon authentication, originality, certification, eye appeal, and grade, exceptional mint state examples have traded in approximately the $1,150 to $2,450 range, while lower-grade uncirculated coins generally command significantly less. These values continue to fluctuate as certified population reports and collector demand evolve over time. The inaugural year of the Eisenhower dollar has also produced several recognized varieties and collectible production anomalies that specialists actively pursue. Among the most discussed are differences associated with the 1971 S-proof issues, where collectors distinguish between the so-called friendly eagle and normal eagle reverse hub varieties based on subtle design characteristics. These recognized varieties have been carefully documented by numismatic researchers and remain legitimate areas of study within the series. Genuine mint errors such as broad strikes, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and major die breaks occasionally appear as well, although each requires careful professional authentication before carrying any significant premium. Many coins advertised online as rare errors are actually damaged after leaving the mint or display ordinary machine doubling that holds little numismatic importance. Certified examples of important varieties or dramatic mint errors preserved in outstanding condition have realized prices approaching or exceeding roughly $3,600 in competitive auctions, but such outcomes are limited to authenticated, scarce specimens rather than typical circulation strikes. Authentication has become increasingly important as collector interest in modern key condition coins continues to grow. Although counterfeit 1971 Eisenhower dollars are less widespread than counterfeit gold or early silver rarities, deceptive altered coins, fabricated mint errors, and modified silver issues do appear in the marketplace. Experienced specialists verify diameter, weight, metallic composition, edge construction, die characteristics, and surface texture before assigning authenticity. Third-party grading services also evaluate whether the surfaces remain original or have been improperly cleaned, polished, or artificially toned. Cleaning is particularly harmful because it permanently alters the microscopic flow lines responsible for natural mint luster, often reducing both marketability and long-term collector confidence. Proper storage remains equally essential. Archival quality holders, hard capsules, or professionally sealed grading slabs help protect these large coins from fingerprints, moisture, airborne contaminants, and friction. Because the expansive design exposes so much surface area, even careful handling by the edges is recommended whenever a raw specimen is examined outside protective packaging. More than 5 decades after its introduction, the 1971 Eisenhower dollar has earned lasting respect not simply because it was the first coin of its series, but because it captures a pivotal moment in American history through both artistry and symbolism. It honors a respected military leader, celebrates humanity's arrival on the moon, and reflects an era of optimism despite the economic and political challenges facing the nation. While millions remain available to collectors, only a very small percentage possess the combination of exceptional strike, pristine surfaces, original luster, superior eye appeal, and certified preservation that advanced numismatists seek. Auction history consistently demonstrates that ordinary circulated examples should never be confused with elite certified coins, and the strongest prices have been achieved only by authenticated high-grade specimens, important recognized varieties, or genuinely rare error coins supported by respected grading services. That distinction explains why serious collectors continue searching through collections, dealer inventories, and estate holdings, knowing that every authentic 1971 Eisenhower dollar tells the same historical story, yet only a select few possess the extraordinary qualities that elevate them from an interesting keepsake into one of the standout modern collectibles in American numismatics. Next up, the investigation begins with a coin that countless Americans once overlooked without a second thought. The 1972 United States Eisenhower dollar appears, at first glance, to be just another large dollar bearing the familiar portrait of President Dwight D. Eisenhower, yet experienced numismatists immediately slow down when one lands in their hands. Before anyone even considers rarity or condition, specialists carefully study the date, the reverse design, the mint mark, and the overall quality of the strike, because subtle differences invisible to most people can completely change the story the coin tells. It is one of those fascinating modern issues that rewards patience rather than assumptions. As we continue examining this remarkable dollar together, you'll discover why authenticated examples receive such close attention from collectors, what details experts search for before assigning collector value, and how a seemingly ordinary coin can become one of the most discussed issues in the entire Eisenhower dollar series. Holding the coin under good lighting, the first thing worth appreciating is the historical moment that produced it. The Eisenhower dollar had debuted only a year earlier, honoring the former president whose military leadership helped shape the outcome of World War II and whose presidency guided the United States through an important period of Cold War history. By 1972, America itself was facing an economy challenged by rising inflation, changing monetary policy after the end of the Bretton Woods system, and continued political uncertainty during the Vietnam era. Despite those challenges, The country remained proud of its achievements in space exploration, and the dollar's reverse continued celebrating the Apollo 11 mission. Congress intended the series to recognize both Eisenhower's legacy and America's technological accomplishments, creating a coin that represented leadership, peace, and scientific progress at the same time. Although the large dollar never became especially popular in everyday commerce because of its size and weight, it immediately established itself as an important collectible, particularly for people interested in modern United States coinage. Turning the coin slightly reveals one of Frank Gasparo's most recognizable designs. The obverse presents a dignified left-facing portrait of Dwight D. Eisenhower beneath the word Liberty, accompanied by In God We Trust and the date 1972. The reverse features an eagle descending toward the lunar surface while carrying an olive branch, adapted from the official Apollo 11 mission insignia. Earth appears in the distance above the moon's horizon, creating a composition that celebrates both exploration and the hope for peace, following one of humanity's greatest technological achievements. The circulating versions were struck in a copper-nickel-clad composition bonded to a pure copper core, measuring approximately 38.1 millimeters in diameter, weighing about 22.68 grams, and finished with a reeded edge. Collector editions produced at the San Francisco Mint used a special 40% silver-clad composition, giving them different metallic characteristics and making them particularly desirable among collectors seeking original mint-issued silver examples. As the examination becomes more detailed, attention naturally shifts toward where the coin was struck, because mint origin plays an important role in understanding the 1972 issue. Philadelphia produced circulation coins without any mint mark. Denver struck coins carrying the familiar D, and San Francisco manufactured both proof and uncirculated collector editions bearing the S mint mark. Millions of circulation dollars emerged from Philadelphia and Denver, but mintage alone does not explain collector demand. What truly distinguishes the 1972 issue is the existence of three different reverse hub designs on certain Philadelphia coins, commonly known as Type 1, Type 2, and Type 3. Among these, the 1972 Type 2 reverse is the key variety of the entire circulation series because it was produced in a much smaller quantity and can be identified by the distinctive appearance of the Earth above the Moon. Collectors carefully compare the Caribbean islands, the outline of Florida, and surrounding geographic details to determine which reverse hub they are examining. This variety is fully documented within numismatic research and represents one of the most important reasons specialists inspect every 1972 Philadelphia dollar so closely. Looking beyond varieties, experienced collectors begin evaluating quality because condition often matters just as much as rarity. The large surfaces of the Eisenhower dollar are especially susceptible to bag marks, abrasions, and friction acquired during handling and transportation. The highest points of Eisenhower's cheek, jawline, and hair usually reveal the first evidence of contact, while the broad fields surrounding the portrait easily display even the smallest imperfections. On the reverse, experts examine the eagle's feathers, the lunar surface, and the lettering for sharpness and completeness. Original mint luster should flow evenly across both sides of the coin, creating a rotating cartwheel effect under proper lighting. While circulating clad issues generally retain a silver-gray appearance, naturally toned examples sometimes develop attractive golden, blue, or amber colors after decades of stable storage. Professional grading services evaluate these characteristics using the Sheldon scale, where the difference between an MS-65 and an MS-67 coin may appear subtle to casual observers, but can significantly influence collector demand. Certified examples exhibiting exceptional strike quality, original surfaces, and outstanding eye appeal have traded in approximately the $1,300 to $2,650 range, depending upon the specific variety, certification, market conditions, and collector competition. The investigation becomes even more fascinating once the possibility of mint errors and uncommon varieties enters the discussion. Genuine production errors certainly exist within the Eisenhower Dollar series, including broad strikes, clipped planchets, off-center strikes, major die cracks, and other documented mint-made anomalies, but every unusual feature deserves careful verification before being considered valuable. Many coins promoted online as rare errors are actually the result of circulation damage, post-mint alteration, or mechanical doubling that occurred during striking and carries little premium. The famous 1972 Type 2 reverse should never be confused with a mint error because it is a recognized design variety rather than a production mistake. Authentication by respected third-party grading companies remains the most reliable way to distinguish legitimate collectible varieties from ordinary coins with accidental damage. In the strongest cases, authenticated high-grade Type 2 dollars or certified major mint errors have realized prices approaching or exceeding roughly $3,900 at auction. But those impressive results belong only to scarce, professionally certified examples that combine rarity with outstanding preservation. Authentication continues with careful measurements and close observation because counterfeiters often overlook small details that genuine mint products consistently display. Specialists verify weight, diameter, thickness, edge reading, and metallic composition before comparing microscopic die characteristics with known authentic examples. They also inspect the lettering, date, mint mark placement, and the intricate details within the earth above the moon, particularly when evaluating a suspected Type 2 reverse. Surface texture provides another important clue. Genuine mint luster develops through the striking process and cannot be convincingly recreated after polishing or artificial treatment. Cleaning remains one of the most common mistakes made by inexperienced owners because abrasive methods permanently damage the original finish and reduce collector confidence. To preserve a 1972 Eisenhower dollar properly, experienced collectors recommend handling it only by the edges and storing it in archival quality holders, inert capsules, or professionally sealed grading slabs that protect against fingerprints, moisture, airborne contaminants, and environmental changes capable of altering the original surfaces. After decades of study, the 1972 Eisenhower dollar has earned a reputation far beyond its role as a circulating dollar coin. It has become a favorite among specialists because it combines historical importance, multiple collectible varieties, large format artistry, and meaningful condition rarity within a single issue. Every examination reinforces the same lesson. Experienced collectors never judge the coin simply by its date. They first determine the mint, identify the correct reverse variety, evaluate strike sharpness, inspect the preservation of the surfaces, confirm the originality of the luster, and verify authenticity before considering market value. Auction history consistently demonstrates that ordinary circulated examples and extraordinary certified specimens belong to completely different collecting categories. The strongest prices have been reserved for authenticated Type 2 varieties, exceptional mint state coins, important certified errors, or elite examples with remarkable eye appeal, while the vast majority remain affordable historical collectibles. The careful process of observation, verification, and comparison is precisely what makes the 1972 Eisenhower dollar such a rewarding investigation for serious numismatists and one of the most compelling modern coins ever produced by the United States Mint. Last coin. Millions of Americans have handled large Eisenhower dollars over the decades, yet surprisingly few ever pause long enough to notice why certain 1974 copper-nickel-clad examples command extraordinary respect among experienced numismatists. At first glance, the coin appears to be another familiar issue from the short-lived Eisenhower dollar series, but careful examination quickly reveals that collector interest has very little to do with the date alone. Specialists study every detail, from the sharpness of the strike and the originality of the surfaces to the mint of origin and the subtle characteristics that distinguish exceptional survivors from ordinary circulation pieces. What makes this investigation especially fascinating is that most of the clues are hiding in plain sight, waiting to be recognized by someone who understands what the United States Mint was producing during the mid-1970s. As this documentary unfolds, we'll carefully examine the history behind the coin, the qualities that experienced collectors evaluate before assigning significance, and the authenticated market results that demonstrate why only a select group of these dollars has achieved remarkable collector recognition. By 1974, the Eisenhower dollar had already established itself as America's first regular circulating dollar coin since the Peace Dollar series ended in 1935. Yet its role within everyday commerce remained uncertain. Named in honor of President Dwight D. Eisenhower, whose military leadership during World War II and presidency shaped an important era of American history, the coin also continued celebrating the nation's achievements in space exploration through its reverse design. The broader historical setting was equally important. The United States was experiencing persistent inflation, the aftermath of the 1973 oil crisis, fuel shortages, and economic uncertainty that affected households across the country. Consumer confidence fluctuated as prices climbed, while the mint continued producing coins needed for circulation despite declining public enthusiasm for carrying such a large and heavy dollar. These economic realities influenced how the coin circulated, how it was stored, and ultimately how many examples survived in outstanding condition. Ironically, the limited popularity of the denomination in daily transactions helped preserve numerous uncirculated pieces, but it did not guarantee that those coins escaped contact marks or production imperfections. Examining the coin itself reveals a design rich in symbolism and historical continuity. Chief engraver Frank Gasparro created the obverse portrait of Dwight D. Eisenhower, presenting the former president with a composed expression that reflects both military discipline and presidential authority. Surrounding the portrait are the inscriptions "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and the date 1974. Turning the coin over reveals the famous Apollo 11-inspired reverse, also designed by Gasparro, featuring an eagle descending toward the lunar surface while carrying an olive branch. Earth appears above the moon's horizon, symbolizing one of humanity's greatest scientific achievements while reinforcing a message of peace. The circulating version was struck in a copper-nickel-clad composition bonded to a pure copper core, measuring approximately 38.1 millimeters in diameter and weighing about 22.68 grams. Its reeded edge and expansive fields make even the smallest abrasions easy to detect, one reason advanced collectors carefully evaluate every surviving specimen. Unlike the special collector silver issues struck at San Francisco, the standard copper-nickel-clad pieces were intended for circulation, placing them directly into an environment where preservation became increasingly difficult. Understanding where a 1974 Eisenhower dollar was produced is the next critical step in evaluating its collector importance. Philadelphia struck circulation coins without a mint mark, while Denver produced circulation issues carrying the familiar D. San Francisco focused on collector editions, including proof and uncirculated 40% silverclad versions that differ from the copper-nickel-clad circulation strikes. Combined production of the Philadelphia and Denver circulation coins reached well into the tens of millions, making the date readily available in worn grades. Yet experienced collectors know that mintage totals rarely tell the entire story. The manufacturing process involved high-speed striking using massive presses, and although the mint maintained quality standards, variations in die wear, strike pressure, and handling after production produced noticeable differences from coin to coin. Large canvas bags filled with heavy dollar coins created countless contact marks before many examples ever left mint storage. As a result, coins displaying sharp design details, minimal abrasions, and uninterrupted mint frost are significantly scarcer than production figures alone would suggest. As the investigation moves deeper, attention shifts away from simple availability and toward the characteristics that separate average coins from elite collectibles. Professional grading services evaluate Eisenhower dollars according to the Sheldon scale, with mint state grades assigned only to coins showing no evidence of circulation. However, numerical grade alone never tells the complete story. Experts closely inspect Eisenhower's cheek, jawline, and hair because those high points frequently reveal bag marks that immediately reduce visual appeal. The reverse receives equal scrutiny, particularly the eagle's feathers, the earth above the moon, and the surrounding fields where distracting abrasions often accumulate. Original mint luster should display a strong cartwheel effect under proper lighting, while naturally toned coins exhibiting attractive golden, champagne, or subtle blue hues may receive additional collector attention when the coloration developed naturally over decades of careful storage. Depending on certification, originality, strike quality, eye appeal, and current market demand, premium mint state examples have realized approximately $1,400 to $2,900 in the collector marketplace, while ordinary uncirculated coins with more typical preservation generally trade at much lower levels. The 1974 issue becomes even more compelling when genuine production anomalies enter the discussion. Collectors actively search for documented mint errors such as broad strikes, clipped planchets, off-center strikes, significant die cracks, and other authenticated manufacturing mistakes created during the coining process. Every suspected error deserves careful examination because post-mint damage frequently imitates genuine mint-made abnormalities. Unlike some earlier Eisenhower dollar dates known for major hub varieties, the standard 1974 copper-nickel-clad circulation issue is not associated with a famous reverse variety comparable to the celebrated 1972 Type II. That distinction is important because reliable numismatic research should always take precedence over internet rumors or unsupported claims. Certified major mint errors in exceptional condition occasionally reach values approaching or exceeding roughly $3,800 when rarity, preservation, and collector demand converge. But those exceptional results apply only to professionally authenticated pieces rather than ordinary circulation coins bearing accidental damage or unsupported attributions. Authentication represents one of the most important stages in the collecting process because modern technology has made altered coins and deceptive counterfeits increasingly convincing. Specialists begin with precise measurements of weight, diameter, and thickness before examining metallic composition, edge reading, microscopic die characteristics, and the natural texture created during striking. They also evaluate whether the surfaces remain original or have been polished, chemically altered, or artificially toned in an attempt to improve appearance. Cleaning remains one of the most damaging practices because it permanently removes microscopic flow lines responsible for authentic mint luster. Experienced collectors therefore prefer coins with honest originality, even if they display light natural tunning developed through proper long-term storage. Preservation also influences future value. Archival quality holders, inert plastic capsules, and certified grading holders help protect the coin from fingerprints, moisture, airborne contaminants, and temperature fluctuations. Because the large diameter exposes extensive surface area, even careful handling by the edges is considered essential whenever a raw specimen leaves its protective holder. Half a century after its release, the 1974 copper-nickel-clad Eisenhower dollar continues to occupy an important place within modern American numismatics because it represents far more than another circulating dollar coin. It reflects an era marked by economic challenges, honors one of the nation's most respected military leaders and presidents, preserves the memory of America's lunar achievements, and demonstrates how collector demand ultimately rewards originality, quality, and historical significance over simple availability. Auction history consistently shows that the strongest certified prices belong only to exceptional mint state survivors, significant authenticated mint errors, or unusually attractive examples possessing superior eye appeal, while the vast majority remain affordable historical artifacts rather than investment-grade rarities. That contrast reminds every collector that careful observation, informed research, professional authentication, and disciplined grading are the true foundations of successful numismatics. Sometimes, the next remarkable discovery begins with a coin that almost everyone else overlooked.